Hello folks, just a quick video on past life regression. Now I just recently became certified in past life regression through the American Hypnosis Association, and of course, as some of you already know, I'm in school right now with Hypnosis Motivation Institute, which is the also known as HMI, and is the first nationally accredited hypnosis college in the United States. So anyway, in relation to past life regression, whether or not you believe in past lives and reincarnation or any of that, it turns out that studies do indicate they can still have a profound impact, a profound effect on your life, potentially clearing up issues that you may have, as many issues as you can think of, so I won't bother listing them. So, is it real? Is it fiction? Let's just jump right into that. You know, you're the one that's going to decide if it's real for you, and if it has any kind of constructive impact within the framework of your life. That's up for you to decide. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yes, it will do that for you. That's completely in your on your side of the fence, in your own experience. But having said that, I will now relate what I consider to be an interesting story. Probably about 30 years ago, maybe a bit longer, I was living in the state of Maine. I was in, I think it was Portland, Maine at the time. So one evening I went to attend a lecture. There was this place that I used to like to go to different lectures. They would have lectures on energy healing and just all kinds of stuff. And I found that enjoyable and fascinating. Now, one evening, I was there to meet my girlfriend, and we were going to partake of a talk. While I was waiting for her, I was at the snack table. You know, they probably had, you know, cakes and tea and things like that. So I'm just looking it over, and I start interacting with someone there, another woman that I hadn't met before. And as cliche as it sounded, I mean, I almost didn't say it because it just sounded like a line, right? But we started talking, and I just had to say, have we met? Because you seem so familiar. And so she proceeded to tell me that her and I were brothers in Egypt, and we were black magicians, and we were also bodyguards of the king. That's what she said. Now, did I jump on that and think, wow, that is so cool, I'm so awesome, this is what I was? No, of course not. I took that with a grain of salt. My friend, I took that with several truckloads of salt, you know. It's like, she seemed like a nice person, you know. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. But of course, it didn't fit into any kind of, you know, it wasn't like, whoa, yeah, I feel that. No, man, it was just like, that's interesting, you know. But I definitely didn't take it and run with it and decide, wow, you know, that's true or real. Now, interestingly enough, it turns out this woman was there to meet my girlfriend, who did eventually show up. They were friends. Her friend was from the UK. Turns out she was a professional psychic. Still, I'm not gonna I've never been the kind of person to like go to a psychic to find out anything. Just like if I had a dream and I wondered about the symbolism, I've never been the kind of person to go get a book to figure it out. I always figured that the answers to that symbolism lie within me, not somebody else's interpretation. So, okay, so professionally, she was a professional psychic from the UK. Well, that's cool. You know, it still didn't cause me to, you know, decide what she had said was valid, real, and wow, you know. But still interesting. So, her friend from the UK was visiting, and she thought it would be interesting after the lecture to bring the UK friend to meet another friend of hers, which, as it turns out, was also a professional psychic. And so that's why she had thought to bring these two together, that they might find it interesting, since they both did the same kind of work, you know. So after the lecture, we went to her friends, and, you know, we were sitting, talking, probably eating a bit, playing some board games. It's like 30 or so years ago, so I don't remember the exact details, but basically like that. And now, interestingly enough, the United States friend whose house we were visiting started to tell us that myself and the UK friend had been brothers, and it was in Egypt, and what was that? And we were black magicians. Interestingly enough, she was using the same wording. And that we were bodyguards to the king. Okay, so the one woman had said that. Okay, that's cool, you know, whatever. And then life is a trip, man. I mean, how do I even find myself in this situation where I meet the one, and then my girlfriend brings us all to meet the other, and then she ends up saying the same story. Now, these two had not met before, okay? And she's telling this same story. So yeah, that got my attention even more. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh man, they set you up. That was just like a joke. But these folks didn't do jokes like that. You know, I mean, they just didn't. And they took their professions, which were real, seriously. You know, so no, it wasn't a setup. It wasn't a humor. Let's fake them out just for fun. It wasn't. You know, I don't even know people that have minds that work like that. So even back then, 30 or so years ago, I didn't. So, interesting story, to have that validation, if you will, from, you know what I mean? So, is reincarnation real? Well, you know, there's that other idea that is time itself is an illusion, and that in its way, past, present, future is all happening at once. And then even beyond that, there are theories, because it's all just theory. I mean, it just really is. Nobody actually knows anything about anything. I mean, just, I'm going to give an example here. I didn't know where I was going to go with this talk, but for example, this pillow. You can say that's a pillow. I can say that's a pillow. It's a label. We use that label so we can agree on where we are and what we're doing, and you know, you give me that pillow and maybe describe the design. But my friend, what is the underlying reality of the pillow? Some people couldn't care less. I've always thought that way, though. You know, the whole quantum physics and all its offshoots, all just theories. I'm going to throw another one at you while we're talking about this, and I feel it does relate. Okay, so in case I didn't say it though, once again, what is the underlying reality? All we know about the pillow is it's a label, and we can describe it. And yeah, you can say, okay, science has dissected it and talked about atoms and all that stuff. And you know what? That's all just theory too. But here's one. See, so often people decide that what started out as a theory, because it becomes so prominent in the worldview or whatever, that it's real, and they forget the theory part. For example, Big Bang theory. Lots of people talk about the Big Bang as if that's really the way it is. But no, my friend, it's not. It's theory. Big Bang theory. I use that because it's such a prime example of what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean it's real. It just means that's what some people have agreed on. Makes sense, but it's been in the public domain or whatever you want to call it for so long that many people forget that it's only a theory. So past life regression. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, I just recently got certified in it. And now certification in itself, that may sound interesting or impressive, but for me, and yeah, of course, I mean, that's cool. I got the paper I can hang on my wall, but I don't let it end there. The way I'm put together is I research. I look at other people's ideas in relation to these things. I'm not going to be following one person or even two people's idea of how this all works. I have to dissect it myself and find out what works best for me in my way of approaching it. So that's where we're at. I find it exciting, and this whole event of so many years ago, I have shared a couple of times, a few times over time, but not a whole lot because it doesn't really fit into your average conversation. But the thing is, since I wasn't going to do past life regression certification, it's like it felt too, out there. I want to be taken seriously as a hypnotherapist. And it just seemed as I was going through the different, courses available that I could receive a certification in. It was like, man, I could lose a lot of people just associating myself with that. But I was interviewing another hypnotherapist a while back, and I asked him his thoughts on it, and basically he was just, well, that's just like too woo-woo. It was just like too woo-woo for him. And I could understand that, and that's what actually caused me to look at it more closely. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I need to be me. And the more I thought about it, the more that past story came up, because I hadn't really looked at that story closely in decades, like 30 years, even though I might have shared the story along the way at times. I didn't really give much thought to it. There was nowhere to go with it. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then for the second professional psychic to actually say the same thing, it's like, what, But in giving greater consideration to the past life certification, that story came up more for me. Then I took the certification, and then it just made the story rise to the surface. So, and part of that is, as I mentioned a moment ago, I got to be me. Who am I? Well, I'm definitely a person that, certainly at this stage in my life, I don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of energy, or too much energy at all, attempting to fit in, when all along the way, over the years, over the decades, I've heard more and more that we need to be who we are, because ultimately nobody else can be you. And so you be you, and you be the best you that you can be. Don't try to be that other person. Maybe they've got some great stuff going on, and you can adopt your own way of doing it if you want to, but be you. And so I decided on the path of honoring myself, if you will, that I would not let the fear of losing clients influence me, and that I would just be me, and bring that up as a certification. And that's what this whole talk, if you will, is about. Now, I did this video earlier today at a hotel I was at, and interestingly enough, my earbud didn't properly connect with the computer. And then on top of that, I had picked this nice area with a great backdrop and everything. And interestingly enough, a whole family of adults and children sat down at a table like 10 feet away from me, and all that beautiful chatter became part of my video. So I decided I need to redo this. And so now here I am at home and redoing it. And I feel like I didn't like the way the other video was anyway. I had gotten myself a bunch of bullet points just to speak. And in my mind, it was a marketing video, honestly, because ultimately I want to share the experience with you, but as a professional hypnotherapist, I do want to get paid for the journey with you, of course. And so I've thrown that out the window. I don't have any bullet points here, and I plugged myself in just to talk about it, and to talk about a little bit of my journey along the way to actually getting certified in it. Oh, and that's what I was saying. I'm not sure if I completed that thought, but the idea is, for me, I don't just get a certification, call it done, run out and use that material on people. I have to grab different sources, different insights, different viewpoints in my effort to have a deeper understanding of the process. And so that's what I'm doing, that's what I've done. I became certified maybe about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And of course, I've been doing a lot of reading and research on top of it. There are different ways of going about it. There are different thoughts related to how to do it. The teacher that trained me for the certification, she had studied with a few other people. And then on top of that, she probably brought into it her own framework. And so, my friends, if what I've shared here today speaks to you at all, then I would say get in touch with me, because that's what it is. Does it speak to you? I'm not here to tell you to, run out and buy a ticket, if you will, to the experience. No. I'm saying, how does it feel to you? And how do I feel to you? Would you like to work with me? Because here I am. And I guess just in ending this for today, first, thank you. Especially if you're still with me, I think even with editing, this is going to be a longer video. But I appreciate your interest. And if you have found interest or any value in this at all, perhaps share it with a friend. What do they say? Please like, subscribe, and share. And just in parting, I will have some kind of a link, or maybe I'll put something in here so you can contact me. What's the point if you can't contact me? So probably in the description section, and or just on the screen at some point. And so I guess that's it. Wrapping it up. Thank you again for being here. Please give yourself a hug. I know you deserve it. And, well, I'm Pleiades MoonStar. Who are you?